Hello everyone and welcome to another review. Today we're going to go ahead and review another fragrance from the by Kilian house. It is another one from the Addictive State of Mind series. It's a recent release that was just released in 2014. It is none other than Light My Fire. So this is another continuation off, and I'm actually going to have a link in here to the previous one that I reviewed, which was Intoxicated, and I will probably have another link to the third one that I'm going to go ahead and review. But either way, this fragrance, again, was released in 2014. I received all three of them as samples from Kilian, and it is actually the second one here that I went through. So because they only sent me this, I actually did not have the juice to actually go out and spray and have 100 different people sample and go through that whole spiel. So unfortunately, this review does not have the 100 different people's likes, dislikes, etc., stuff like that. So just one thing to actually keep in mind. All right. Now, the Addictive State of Mind series, I really like the bottles and the presentations. I think by Kilian's, and I've said this many times, is exquisite in terms of their presentation. It's just regal. It looks great. It looks like not only something that you would want, but it's just an awesome presentation all around, and I absolutely love it. But we're actually here to talk about the fragrance, so let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start with the notes for this fragrance. The notes of this fragrance consist of cumin, hay, patchouli, vetiver, honey, vanilla, and tobacco. So a pretty simple lineup in terms of notes, especially as far as fragrances go. But the first thing that I get when I smell this fragrance immediately right off the bat is hay. The hay, which instantly reminds me of the only other fragrance that I know that has hay, and I'm sure there's more, but it's the only one that really jumps to mind when I smell it, is Chergui from the house of Serge Lutens. Now, they're similar in that hay vibe, only off of that, but I really don't find the fragrances similar at all. Chergui takes this powdery type of a smell, whereas Light My Fire, this fragrance, takes a little bit of a green type of a smell. The green note in this fragrance really reminds me of, if you smelled another by Kilian, Cruel Intentions. That green note direction is really what Light My Fire kind of takes. And that really is what you get off of the top of this fragrance. Now, you get, after it's been on your skin for about, I want to say it's not even long, like 5 minutes, it begins to take this heavy tobacco route, basically. It turns into this very nice tobacco smelling fragrance. It's sweet, it's got a little bit of honey in it. You can still smell a little bit of the hay and a little bit of the green notes that are kind of in this fragrance, but tobacco really kind of takes over this fragrance. After about another like 20 minutes, that's when you start getting a really heavy dose of cumin. Cumin is a note that I found that can go either of a couple of ways on people's skin, but it's one note that's such that you have to try it on your skin if a fragrance has cumin in order to see if it actually is compatible with you, if it's compatible with the smell that you like, because it's definitely going to smell different than spraying it on skin as opposed to paper or even smelling it on somebody else. So this fragrance, no exception. The cumin comes out loud on it, but it's not the same. Because of the hay and because of the tobacco, the cumin is in the background. It's kind of fighting to gain control, but it never really fully gains control. This fragrance, Light My Fire, feels like there are 4 notes that are really jostling and fighting for control. Tobacco, the green note that I was talking to you about, the cumin note that I was talking to you about, and the hay note. All 4 of those are really just constantly fighting and battling for position. And my nose kind of picks up one or the other at any point in time. Now, it's pulling in a lot of directions, I guess is what I'm trying to tell you. One thing that I found pretty interesting about this fragrance is that when you smell it, like if you apply it directly to your skin, you put your nose to it, at least on my skin, it makes me kind of jostle back and like, oh, what is that? I'm not sure what the heck I'm smelling. And it kind of comes across as a little bit too strong, I guess you could say. But smelling it in passing, on the other hand, like just getting wafts of it, actually smells pretty good. And that's where I kind of find this fragrance's strength. The fragrance's strength really lies in its sillage, which to me is actually kind of strange for a fragrance. I mean, yes, everyone passes and smells people as they're passing, and whoa, what is that? But this one, I've really never not come across many fragrances where I smell it and I can't stand the smell of it, directly on, but standing away, it's perfectly fine. So this fragrance kind of fits that bill. Spray-wise, I go about 3 sprays with this one. You can overspray this one easily. Be very careful. Stick to 1 or 2 to start off with. See if you can, work up from there. This is a great outdoor fragrance, and I'm probably biased because of the hand, because of the green notes, but I think it works perfectly for that. I've worn it out on it, and I mean specifically by out, like playing softball or outdoors or doing outdoor stuff. It works perfectly for that. I really didn't like it as far as an indoor fragrance goes. I didn't like wearing it to work. I didn't feel that it really matched my personality or how I was wearing it. I can't imagine it being good for a date fragrance or anything like that, because it's just all over the place. And for that reason, I would stick to the outdoors as far as when to, or the occasion to wear this. As far as season goes, I think it's a great fall fragrance, and I think it's a great winter fragrance. But I think you're chancing it if you're wearing it in the warmer months when it's hot and stuff like that. It's got this vibe that can go either way, basically. People are either going to think you smell great or they're going to think you smell terrible, basically. And it's that terrible thing that, I'm just not comfortable gambling like that, at least with this fragrance. Out of college is the age group that I'm recommending for it. If you're still in college or younger, I'd kind of shy away from this because it does have a little bit of a mature vibe, especially because of the tobacco leaf, and it's got that nice, tobacco kind of a smell that comes to it. I would kind of say you want to steer a little bit clear away from it. So, but of course, that's just my suggestion. Feel free, go nuts if you want to. Now, performance-wise, it's got great sillage, it's got great projection. Longevity it's average. It's about 5 to 9 hours for longevity, so it's not going to knock you out of the park. At one point, it's going to just kind of disappear. So if I'm going to go ahead and give this fragrance a rating, I give this fragrance a rating of a 7 out of 10. Now, the 7 out of 10 comes with an asterisk that I'm not really considering price. The price for these, as with all addictive state of minds, it's $270 for 50 milliliters. That's pretty expensive. It's more than I would be willing to pay for this fragrance, but that's just me and my price point. I'm not going to say Intoxicated was a fragrance that to me smelled so much like Angel Men that I really didn't think that it was worth actually purchasing. This, on the other hand, I know some people are going to say that it smells like Chergui, but I think it smells different enough that it warrants, even if you have Chergui, if you've got the money to, I would suggest taking a look at this one and seeing if you like it. If you're a fan of Chergui, if you're a fan of Cruel Intentions by Kilian, I would say go ahead and take a look at this fragrance. This is a fragrance that might interest you. If you're a fan of deep, spicy fragrances that have cumin in it, take a look at this fragrance. It might be your fancy. It may tickle your fancy. Or if you're a fan of authentic tobacco, which I think really this kind of comes across as, then take a look at this fragrance. If not, it's probably not going to suit your fancy. But either way, it gets a 7 out of 10 because of the fact that it still is. It's a great fragrance that has its originality. There we go. I'm looking for the term original. To me, it smells like an original fragrance, something that was created and I guess you could say kind of serves its purpose, but it's less wearable, is what I guess what you could say I'm trying to say. It's a good outdoor fragrance, but indoors, not so much, which I guess translates out to me thinking that it's just not as wearable around. All right. So it gets a 7 out of 10 though, so it's a decent rating. Check it out. Definitely one that you want to try on your skin before you buy it, especially because of the price. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free. Leave me a message down below, send a note, do whatever you got to do. Thank you, take care of yourselves, and have a great day.